of Norfolk is now in session. Please stand for a moment of silence, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I know.
Thank you.
Brown knows because Martin's not here. Motion is to excuse Mr. Thomas.
Mr. Clanton?
Aye.
Ms. Doyle?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. McGee?
Aye.
Mr. Page?
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel,
Aye.
Dr. Alexander?
Aye, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Clanton?
Present.
Mrs. Doyle?
Here.
Ms. Johnson?
Here.
Mr. McGee?
Here.
Mr. Page?
Here.
Mr. Smigiel,
Here.
Dr. Alexander?
Here. The motion is to dispense with the reading of the minutes of our previous meeting.
Mr. Clanton?
Aye.
Ms. Doyle?
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. McGee?
Aye.
Mr. Page?
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel,
Aye.
Dr. Alexander?
Aye, Mr. Clerk, please read a resolution certifying the closed meeting.
I have a resolution certifying a closed meeting of the Council of the City of Norfolk in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. Adopt the resolution. Mr. Clanton?
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle?
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. McGee?
Aye.
Mr. Page?
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel,
Aye.
Dr. Alexander?
Aye. Good evening and welcome to the Norfolk City Council meeting. Tonight, we'll first take up regular agenda items, then new business. To address the council, you should have registered to speak with the clerk prior to 3 p.m. When your name is called, please come to the podium, state your name, your home address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Mr. Clerk, before we begin, will you please read the rules governing tonight's meeting?
Certainly. City Council rules permit each speaker 3 minutes in total to speak on any and/or all consent and agenda docket items at each monthly meeting. If in advance of tonight's meeting you registered with the clerk to comment on a public hearing matter, which we do not have, you have been able to speak additional 3 minutes. As you approach the council, you'll notice a timer on the lectern. At the beginning of your 3 minutes, the green light will activate. 2.5 minutes into your remarks, you'll notice a yellow light. Indicates that you have 30 seconds to finish your comments. At the end of 3 minutes, you'll see a red light and hear a beep, and we ask that you conclude your comments at that time. While speakers have an opportunity to address council on docket matters, all comments should be made in a manner that respects the seriousness of the forum and should not be made in a profane, disruptive, sarcastic, or demeaning fashion. All remarks shall be directed to the City Council as a body rather than to any particular member of City Council, staff, or the audience. Comments on an agenda item should be germane to that item. A speaker who fails to comply with the basic rules of decorum will be deemed out of order and not allowed to conclude his or her comments. And as a reminder, no sign, placard, poster, or like material which may be carried by hand shall be permitted in the City Council chamber or adjoining areas.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Clerk, R1.
R1 is an ordinance granting Columbia Gas Transmission LLC a long-term easement with a 40-year term and an associated 5-year temporary construction easement and a long-term access easement with a 40-year term all across the City of Norfolk property located in the City of Suffolk, and a long-term license with a 40-year term to cross certain City of Norfolk easements located in the City of Suffolk, all in conjunction with the construction, installation, and maintenance of a new natural gas pipeline subject to certain terms and conditions. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. Mr. Clerk, R2.
R2 is an ordinance authorizing the conveyance of a temporary construction easement over City of Norfolk property located in the City of Suffolk to Columbia Gas Transmission LLC in conjunction with the construction, installation, and maintenance of a new natural gas pipeline subject to certain terms and conditions, and authorizing the city manager to enter into a temporary construction easement agreement on behalf of the city. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smiegel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. Mr. Clerk, R3.
R3 is an ordinance approving a right of entry permitting the city of Virginia Beach to go upon and use city-owned property located at 5637 Shell Road, Virginia Beach, to reestablish the original channel depth of Lake Lawson. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smiegel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. Mr. Clerk, R4.
R4 is an ordinance amending the FY 2025 annual appropriations ordinance number 49590, so as to accept and appropriate grant funds up to the sum of $519,750 from and through the Virginia Department of Energy Management for a critical facility generator at Norfolk Public Schools Nutrition Program Services, and amending the FY 2025 budget to include same. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smiegel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. Mr. Clerk, R5.
R5 is an ordinance amending the FY 2025 annual appropriations ordinance number 49590, so as to accept and appropriate grant funds up to the sum of $736,800 from the Virginia Department of Transportation, VDOT, for the Transportation Information and Decision Support System Project, UPS 115372, the project, if and when received, providing the sum of $63,200 as local funds from previously appropriated funds, amending the annual grants plan in the FY 2025 budget to add the grant information for the project and authorizing the agreement with VDOT for the project. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smiegel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Mr. Clerk, R6.
R6 is an ordinance amending the FY 2025 annual appropriations ordinance number 49590, so as to accept and appropriate grant funds up to the sum of $641,536 from the Virginia Department of Transportation, VDOT, for the ADA ramp Phase 6 project, UPC 12910, the project, if and when received, providing the sum of $710,536 as local match and $34,000 as local funds from previously appropriated funds, amending the annual grants plan in the FY 2025 budget to add the grant information for the project and authorizing the agreement with VDOT for the project. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smiegel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. Mr. Clerk, R7.
R7 is an ordinance amending the FY 2025 annual appropriations ordinance number 49590, so as to accept and appropriate grant funds up to the sum of $1,641,071 from the Virginia Department of Transportation, VDOT, for the Chesapeake Boulevard and Shepherd Avenue Intersection Improvements Project, the project, if and when received, providing the sums of $1,732,771 as local match and $91,700 as local funds from previously appropriated funds, amending the annual grants plan in the FY 2025 budget to add the grant information for the project and authorizing the agreement with VDOT for the project. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smiegel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. Mr. Clerk, R8.
R8 is an ordinance amending the FY 2025 annual appropriations ordinance number 49590, so as to accept and appropriate grant funds up to the sum of $1,406,457 from the Virginia Department of Transportation, VDOT, for the Hampton Boulevard Magnolia Intersection Improvements Project, UPC 12917, the project, if and when received, providing the sums of $1,484,657 as local match and $78,200 as local funds from previously appropriated funds, amending the annual grants plan in the FY 2025 budget to add the grant information for the project and authorizing the agreement with VDOT for the project. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. R9.
R9 is an ordinance amending the FY 2025 annual appropriations ordinance number 49590, so as to accept and appropriate grant funds up to the sum of $1,747,673 from the Virginia Department of Transportation, VDOT, for the Tidewater Drive improvements at Lakewood Project UPC 12912, the project, if and when received, providing the sums of $1,835,373 as local match and $87,700 as local funds from previously appropriated funds, amending the annual grants plan in the FY 2025 budget to add the grant information for the project and authorizing the agreement with VDOT for the project. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. R10.
R10 is an ordinance amending the FY 2025 annual appropriations ordinance number 49590, so as to accept and appropriate grant funds up to the sum of $1,955,000 from the Virginia Department of Transportation, VDOT, for the 26th and 27th Street resurfacing projects, UPC 126-117, 126-118, and 126-120, collectively the project, if and when received, providing the sum of $45,000 as local funds from previously appropriated funds, amending the annual grants plan in the FY 2025 annual budget to add the grant information for the project and authorizing the agreement with VDOT for the project. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
R11.
11 is an ordinance amending the FY 2025 annual appropriations ordinance number 49590, so as to accept and appropriate grant funds up to the sum of $1,469,997 from the Virginia Department of Transportation, VDOT, for the Hampton Boulevard Street resurfacing projects, UPC 125-489 and 125-493, collectively the project, if and when received, providing the sum of $30,000 as local funds from previously appropriated funds, amending the annual grants plan in the FY 2025 budget to add the grant information for the project and authorizing the agreement with VDOT for the project. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. R12.
R12 is an ordinance amending the FY 2025 annual appropriations ordinance number 49590, so as to accept and appropriate grant funds up to the sum of $233,840 from the Virginia Department of Transportation, VDOT, for the Newtown Road Corridor Study Project, UPC 115-379, the project, if and when received, providing the sum of $16,160 as local funds from previously appropriated funds, amending the annual grants plan in the FY 2025 budget to add the grant information for the project and authorizing the agreement with VDOT for the project. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. R13.
13 is an ordinance amending the FY 2025 annual appropriations ordinance number 49590, so as to accept and appropriate grant funds up to the sum of $2,654,558 from the Virginia Department of Transportation, VDOT, for the signal system upgrade for incident management project UPC 125-975, the project, if and when received, providing the sum of $345,442 as local funds from previously appropriated funds, amending the annual grants plan in the FY 2025 budget to add the grant information for the project and authorizing the agreement with VDOT for the project. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. McGee?
Aye.
Mr. Page?
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel,
Aye.
Dr. Alexander?
R14,
R14 is an ordinance amending the FY 2025 Annual Appropriations Ordinance Number 49590 so as to accept and appropriate grant funds up to the sum of $939,828 from the Virginia Department of Transportation, VDOT, for the Southside Bike Lane Network Project, UPC 115424, the project, if and when received, providing the sum of $76,072 as local funds from previously appropriated funds, amending the annual grants plan in the FY 2025 budget to add the grant information for the project and authorizing the agreement with VDOT for the project. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton?
Aye.
Ms. Doyle?
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. McGee?
Aye.
Mr. Page?
There's some questioning before I vote, and maybe Mr. Pisco could help me, or the city manager. I haven't fully been briefed as to this, and this being the South Side, which is a part of my ward. I'd just like to know a little bit more about it. I'm definitely gonna vote and say yes for the money. I just don't know the stance on the community as it is to the bike project. No one has been communicating to us, the city council, as to this in that community.
yes, Mr. Manager?
Thank you. I'd like to call up John Stevenson, Director of Transportation. He can certainly tell you a little bit about the project and also answer any questions. He has staff with him tonight as well.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city manager. This particular project came out of a lot of community. It was one of the hallmarks of trying to provide additional modes of transportation for the community. This project initially will be going out with the concept development, and the public engagement component is just getting ready to be kicked off. Your predecessor was aware of the project, and so we definitely need to meet with you and bring you up to speed. But we have a webpage already set up for the particular project, so we'll give that link to you as well.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. And from a point of view, you work very well with me in keeping me informed. The part that I want to know is the citizen standpoint. Before
Right.
we agree to put things in the community, I want to know what their take is and get their input. So my question more so was to the fact of, when I say yes to this, because I'm going to take the money, am I saying yes to everything else that I have not seen and don't know as it is to it yet?
Yes. There's going to be a huge public engagement component to this. So depending on how the public engagement and the concept development goes, will really could change the course of the exact elements that we end up installing with the project.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
That helps me.
And your vote, sir?
My vote is aye.
Thank you. Mr. Smigiel,
Aye.
Dr. Alexander?
Aye. R15,
R15 is an ordinance amending the FY 2025 Annual Appropriations Ordinance Number 49590 so as to accept and appropriate grant funds up to the sum of $936,800 from the Virginia Department of Transportation, VDOT, for the Traffic Signal System Communications Network Upgrade Project, UPC 115377, the project, if and when received, providing the sum of $63,200 as local funds from previously appropriated funds, amending the annual grants plan in the FY 2025 budget, and add the grant information for the project, and authorizing the agreement with VDOT for the project. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton?
Aye.
Ms. Doyle?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. McGee?
Aye.
Mr. Page?
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel,
Aye.
Dr. Alexander?
aye. R16,
R16 is an ordinance amending the FY 2025 Annual Appropriations Ordinance Number 49590 so as to accept and appropriate grant funds up to the sum of $782,400 from the Virginia Department of Transportation, VDOT, for the Traffic Signal Detection Upgrades Project, UPC 115370, the project, if and when received, providing the sum of $217,600 as local funds from previously appropriated funds, amending the annual grants plan in the FY 2025 budget to add the grant information for the project and authorizing the agreement with VDOT for the project. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. R17.
R17 is the third ordinance amending and reordaining the fiscal year 2025 compensation plan ordinance and its incorporated attachments so as to amend 3 sections of its Exhibit A regulation, consisting in one amendment to change applicants to candidates in Section 4 to add only full-time employees are eligible for a signing bonus in Section 5, add lifeguard 1 to lifeguard 2, and school crossing guard to school crossing guard senior in Section 11. Exhibit B, Appendix 1, job assignment supplements to add Tier 1 and Tier 2 to commercial driver's license CDL, and Exhibit C, alphabetical classification listing to remove minimum and maximum monetary amounts for the classification titles of city auditor and city clerk, change classification title of the deputy fire chief to unclassified, change the grade attached to the classification title Environmental Health Assistant 2 from 5 to 6, change FLSA status to the classification titles HR Administrator, SC, and Operations Manager to exempt and add 2 new classification titles, Victim Services Specialist and Victim Services Supervisor. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. R18.
R18 is to amend ordinance number 49825 so as to schedule the work sessions of the city council meetings to commence at 4 p.m. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Ms. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. R19.
R19 is an ordinance to permit Oculus Rail to encroach into city right-of-way at 12 locations with rail computer vision sensors mounted on 10-foot poles. And the motion is to continue this item to March 25th. Mr. Clanton?
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle?
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. McGee?
Aye.
Mr. Page?
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel?
Aye.
Dr. Alexander?
Aye. R20.
R20 is an ordinance granting Wyatt Sutton, Associate Commissioner, Championships and Sports Administration for Mid-Eastern Atlantic Conference, MEAC, permission to encroach into the right-of-way located along the railings on Monticello Avenue and City Hall Avenue with MEAC banners. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. R-
R21, sir, is a resolution appointing one member to one board for certain terms. Adopt the resolution. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. R22.
And yes, sir. R22 is an ordinance approving a right of entry agreement between the City of Norfolk and Hope Foundation, Inc. for the use of city-owned property located at 801 Church Street for the Hope Foundation Community Day and authorizing the city manager to execute the right of entry on behalf of the city. Dispense with the charter requirement for reading the ordinance twice and adopt with the effective date. Mr. Clanton.
Aye.
Mrs. Doyle.
Aye.
Mrs. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. McGee.
Aye.
Mr. Page.
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel.
Aye.
Dr. Alexander.
Aye. Mr. Clerk, you have another?
That's all I have, sir.
Thank you. New business, Linda Danziger, followed by William. Okay, Bill will follow you.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Manager. Thank you very much for your time. I am Linda Danziger. My address is 1611 Parkview Avenue, and in 23503, Bayview. I am the president of the Bayview Civic League, and I worked alongside with a bunch of our Ocean View Civic Leagues to come up with a comprehensive paper that was submitted to the City Council previously. And I'm here to speak on behalf of the Bayview citizens to hopefully implore all of you to recognize that this is a real win-win document that we put together so that we could improve the area of Ocean View as it continues to grow and become a destination for tourism in the beach community, along with revenue for the city. So if we are growing and we're not quite to the point where it's an awesome destination, we have a lot of areas that are kind of neglected and need some support. We want to work with city council, the civic leagues want to work with city council to address those areas and make the area more family-friendly and safer for our visitors and our residents to work coexistently together. And some of the things that we talked about in here that I would like to point out particularly for the Bayview area is the Ocean View Ave, the safety of crossing that street from anyone in my residence. I know there's a project that we talked about and we're grateful for that is in progress, but the sooner we can get the crosswalks there at every beach access point, the safer we will all be. And sidewalks and aesthetics, mowing and adding some beautification projects would definitely help with just the whole presence of a community that is there as a destination for a vacation and people who are looking to have a second home or live on the beach or live at the beach. So us Civic League presidents wanted to see if there was any questions, knowing that you've had this previously, if you had any questions for us, and I know I will not take up as much time because Bill has a lot he needs to talk about too from East Beach. So, did anyone have any questions or comments that they would like to ask me as a representative from the Bayview area of Norfolk regarding this proposed letter?
Thank you, Linda. I think there are a couple of new members, so I'll make sure, I know Jeremy may be familiar with it, I don't know if Carlos is familiar, but we need to get them up to speed with it. But we look forward to working with you
Yep.
and all the rest
I'll
of the
be back
city
in a
leagues.
month.
Okay. Thank you. Bill, come on.
Good evening. I'm Bill Kopleski. I live at 9663 24th Bay Street. I'm the president of the East Ocean View Civic League, and I'm also referencing the letter that we did provide the city council in respect to the potential for a future tourist-based revenue growth in Ocean View. The Ocean View community, East Ocean View community, supports this joint city community and community effort to rebrand Ocean View as a premier tourist location. And in our paper, to make this growth a reality, we requested that the city council and the city leaders provide the appropriate focus and resources to enable Ocean View to become this safe, family, and friendly destination. From an East Ocean View perspective, the tourism focus should be at or near the two commercial and recreational centers of Ocean View. For downtown Ocean View is ideally suited for all tourism because it is near public beaches with facilities, a golf course, fishing pier, marinas, boat ramps, lodging, and the interstate. To a lesser extent, in East Ocean View is more suited for local tourism because there are no public beach facilities. There is limited neighborhood street parking, fewer lodging options, and a much smaller commercial footprint, such as the recently purchased East Beach Square. Our support for this effort is conditional. These conditions involve improving and maintaining public safety and infrastructure to create a sustainable foundation for tourism. This includes funding East Ocean View public work projects, specifically the storm drainage one from 1st to 19th Bay. The Ocean View Avenue Comprehensive Transportation Study, I think you all know our traffic signal at 21st Bay Street is still a high priority. And there are maintenance actions regarding sidewalks, and then also the interim and long-term beach renourishment is also very important. We also are interested in revenue sharing for many of the short-term rentals that are in existence in all of Ocean View. And this STR density should be addressed because we are concerned with long-term housing options that are being diminished to where our neighborhood cohesion, stability, and sustainability are negatively impacted. I also would like to ask if any of the council members or the city manager has any questions for East Ocean View as relation to this paper. Thank you for your time.
So, Rick Anderson? No, Rick, okay. Rick Anderson, not here. Carlos Tanner. Carlos is followed by Monet Johnson.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Carlos Tanner, 1080 DuBois Drive, Norfolk, Virginia. I would like to share a story about an inner city barber raised in Norfolk. Myself, Carlos Tanner. As a teenager, I began cutting hair. Over time, I became quite skilled at cutting hair and inspired me to become a master barber, a salon owner, an instructor now, a Navy veteran, a father, and a spiritual mentor. I am the young teenager whose humiliation was the catalyst that sparked my passion to compel me to use my talent to inspire young people who are often overlooked. I now primarily work with disadvantaged young teenagers. I volunteer at Chesapeake Juvenile Services now, offering free haircuts, and I began teaching them the art of self-confidence through my barbering program. My program is called Shaped Up. It focuses on young people, transforming young people into responsible adults by teaching them the art of barbering skills while enhancing their appearance and influencing positive behaviors. This program is designed to ensure that you not only look great on the outside, but you feel fantastic on the inside through positive changes of mentoring, hands-on training, career opportunities, and job placements. This is a wonderful opportunity that allows the city of Norfolk to embark on this initial journey, up to 300 students of enrollment each year. I have the privilege of bringing one of my students with me today. Michael, would you like to share how the program has changed your life?
Hello, my name is Michael Ossibogan. My home address is 1109 Love Court, Virginia Beach, Virginia. I'm a student of Mr. Carlos under Shaped Up Academy, and I would like to firstly show gratitude and appreciation to him because he has taught me a lot. He has taught me how to become a man. He has taught me how to become a better barber, a better person that can communicate to their clients. And throughout my journey, I began to not have the best cuts, and I became discouraged, but he was always there to help me out, guide me through that process, and that built my fortitude and my discipline. And throughout that process, I start to realize that it's more than just perfection, but progress, improvement. Furthermore, I realize it's also something in giving free cuts. I'm also a college student at Old Dominion University, and I give cuts for free depending on if they don't have it. And that really opened up a heart within me to just give somebody something to boost their confidence, regardless if they have the money, because money's not everything. It's to be in servitude and give love.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Ms. Monet Johnson, followed by Susan Matusik. You're following Monet Johnson. Oh, yeah, so great. See, nice, sharp young man. He did better than.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm Monet Johnson. I come before you today not only as an organizer, but as a concerned younger citizen who wants to stay and, if I'm lucky, create and raise a family in the city. Hello to the cameras. And who believes in the power of collaboration to address some of the most urgent challenges facing Norfolk today. Our city is at a critical juncture, and it's imperative that we prioritize investments that not only address immediate needs, but also build a sustainable future for all of us. So firstly, I would like to urge you all to allocate $3 million to the Housing Trust Fund. Norfolk is in the midst of a housing crisis. We know this, and it's becoming more evident every day. Our population isn't trending necessarily upwards, and we don't necessarily have the most affordable and family-friendly housing options. If we continue down this path, we risk a future where our city loses its vibrancy, and I don't want that to happen because, as I mentioned, I do want to be here for a while. There's going to be an influx of families within the voucher system soon who need a place to live, and we must be ready to meet this demand with the resources to create more affordable housing opportunities. By investing in the Housing Trust Fund, we are showing our commitment to building a city where families can thrive, and we need funding now to start addressing the long-standing issue of affordable housing. And it's the only way we can make real progress in narrowing the wealth gap. The city's strategic housing plan lays out the blueprint, but the reality is, without actual financial investment, those plans will remain just that. Plans. Allocating $3 million to this fund will give us the tools to build housing that Norfolk needs and deserves. Secondarily, I ask that you allocate $1 million to the eviction prevention program. As we know, resources for those who are unhoused are often stretched thin, and once families face eviction, the safety net often fails to catch them. Prevention is the most effective strategy to stop unhousedness before it begins. We've already seen the strain on our shelters, and with rent continuing to rise and more families are at risk of losing their homes than ever, unfortunately, the eviction prevention portal has been closed since like August, leaving countless families in limbo and waiting for support. Norfolk has earned the unfortunate distinction we all know of being number 6 in the country in terms of evictions, and this needs to change. Allocating $1 million will allow the city to extend a lifeline to those facing eviction and give more families the chance to stay in their homes. Increasing the eviction prevention fund would also increase the amount of assistance available because it is currently capped at $5,000 per family per year, which is simply not enough to keep with the rising cost of rents and families that have fallen behind. With the uncertainty of federal funding, the time to act is now. The time to collaborate is now. And together with these allocations, we represent an opportunity to create a safer, more secure future for the residents of Norfolk. And I hope that we can do so together. Thank you.
Susan Matusik, followed by Tiara Lassiter.
Like RoboCop. All right, I've got 9 of these, so could you make sure they can? Okay. Let me know when I start. Ready? Hello, Mayor and City Council. We've got a little public corruption problem in the Commonwealth Attorney's Office. We've got some extortion, exploitation in some of the codes offices and some fire claims. Again, we need to look into this. The Office of the Inspector General has been contacted. I had that fire December 23rd. I wish it wouldn't have happened, but, you know, it did. I had a mortgage with Caliber Home Loans, and they were very predatory. Carol Millis, Tiffany Tequita, Latoya, James Campbell hurt my mortgage, kept putting my money towards the principal, not paying. And it's just, so there's a lawsuit, and it's in Virginia Court of Appeals. Rob McFarland, who is the lawyer for McGuire Woods over Caliber, I had to meet with him yesterday, and he's helping me make sure that my money that I got from Allstate is in a escrow so I can rebuild, so no one steals it. So I might drop the lawsuit. You see, sometimes you have to sue someone to say, let's meet. I'm just done. So the check, Scott Slesser, the structure adjuster, owes me another 20. And when they put your life at risk by jackleg builder like Evolution, run by Daniel Barnes, that's wrong. My house could have been saved. As a part of it, they didn't tarp it. I got broken into. I'm grateful for Matt Slavinsky, the cop that came and did the report, so that was good. It's going to be ripped down. It's only $10,000. Rip it down and building a brand new house. No jackleg builders, no Empire, no Boone builders. None of that is ever doing business with me again. My contest portion will be coming in. That's another $113. I'm building the house. There is an issue with a predator that won't stop, and I want to thank the Norfolk Police for helping me on the day of the snowstorm. She will not stop with that case CL-24-1979 where they went on the news and exploited me. It's horrible. It needs to stop. I go to court. I'm done. I want you to know Stephanie Johnson and Jennifer Reynolds are 2 Regent people that really should not be in any kind of legal realm at all. The willful obstruction of justice that they did to me January 31st is egregious. What Michael Blunt did and Kaplan Law Firm did to me December 6th is egregious. See Drew Fairbanks. Everybody keeps getting new cars in the neighborhood when they mess me over. Yeah. So we definitely need a new Commonwealth attorney. I'm just not pleased with Ramin Fadi. He doesn't listen. The people that maliciously, is that 1 minute? Malicious prosecution is illegal, as are the hate crimes done to me, Bob Jones and Cat Jones. All this stuff is going to be a busy month in March. Mariana Gilmore, my house wasn't even done smoking, and they're like, you do this and that, and I can't make Allstate move any faster, but Daniel Winslow is trying to help me out. I want Police Operations Center to be more professional. Officer Wisdom is a trunt. That is a female person that voted for Trump, and she's rude, and they don't belong in law enforcement. The breach of duty of care and assault done to be by Martin June 5th.
Thank you, Ms. Matusik. Your time is ended.
So anyway, please look at this
Tiara Lassiter.
and investigate.
Thank you.
Okay, can you do that for me?
Thank you.
Thank you. You have my back, remember?
Thank you. Tiara Lassiter, followed by James Clary. You're going to follow Ms. Lassiter, sir.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
My name is Tiara Lassiter, and I am a lifelong resident of the city of Norfolk. Since 2016, the city has been in an ongoing housing crisis and affordable housing shortage. I would like to propose a strategic plan or a solution to assist the affordable housing issue. The city should allocate $3 million for a housing trust fund and $1 million to the eviction prevention program. This will benefit the city, local housing authority, landlords, renters, and all residents of Norfolk. Additionally, this creates mixed-use communities, housing opportunities, and security for families at this time. For decades, redevelopment projects have taken place within the city that leads to higher poverty rates, displacement, and homelessness of lower class and impoverished people. The facts: Norfolk is and has been a top evictor in the United States. Another fact: the local housing authority is also a top evictor within the city. So, in order for us poor, oppressed, middle class, and elite people to become a part of a society that is meaningful, the system under which we exist under has to be radically changed. And by radically changed, I mean all parties collectively working together in order to be able to change the system that has been failing us. So there is no realistic reason why we should have an ongoing housing crisis for over a decade. So with that being the case scenario, then that must mean the system and the things that we are doing are not working. Because if they were working, then we would have solved the problem of the lack of the affordable housing as well as the housing crisis, but we have not. So when the system is not working, then we must all work collectively together in order to change that system. This is what we see you guys do every day. The first level of the local government. You have the power, the opportunity, the chance to help us institute change. Change that could last over decades, that will indeed better this society, that can create a even more solid, even better society for our future generation and kids to come. So with this $3 million to this housing trust fund and this $1 million to these eviction prevention programs, we do solidify mixed-use communities. We offer better housing opportunity. We offer better education opportunities. We offer a transition of life. Everything is transitioning. However, we are not transitioning as people. We are not getting on one accord. We are not working collaboratively together, and we should. All entities are separate, but we all have the same mission, and we all have common goals within the city and within these different entities. So we ought to be able to get on one accord to provide a steady and stable housing, not just for elite, not just for middle class, not just for poor or impoverished, but for all. Thank you for your time.
James Clary. James is followed by Javon Bennett.
How you doing?
Hi.
How you doing, everybody? My name is James Clary. I buried my mother not too long ago. She was the one found out City Park. They said she died for natural causes. How can you say died for natural causes? You froze to death. When she was with Social Security, supposed to have been taking care of her. When I found out what was going on, it was too late. My mother was dead. So I want to know basically who I can talk to that's in charge so I can find out exactly what happened. My mama had over $5,000 in her account, but the only money she had to spend was $50 to live on, eat, sleep, and take care of herself. I gave my mama $180 out of my check every week to put her in a hotel. I tried to put her in a place of her own, but I didn't make enough money. I went to the people that was in charge. They told me to get her ID for her. I did all of that. I took her to a place where they can get her a place to stay at. They didn't do anything, man. They left her out there like she was an animal. That's my mother, a woman that taught me respect for everybody that's behind in front of me right now. She taught me respect for everything, the law, everything. My father as well. My brother was murdered in this city. No one helped us. No one helped my mom. I watched my mom go from the top straight to the bottom. And guess what? I'm at the bottom right now. I don't have nobody to turn to. Nobody to help me. You know how much pain it is for a person to only know one person in their life and never be able to see them or touch them again in their life. All kind of things happen to my mom out there. I'm just now finding out about certain things, people coming to me now telling me things. And some of the things I found out, it's ridiculous. You got people 76 years old, older than my mother out here in these streets. And everything this woman just finished saying up here, I agree with everything she said. as far as housing. Put the money back into housing. Don't put nobody in the street. Somebody 76 years old, almost 80 years old, they cannot survive out there. I'm having a hard time surviving out here. I'm 56 years old. I'm in pretty decent shape. But you can't make it if you ain't got no money. People taking things away from you, you can't make it. I can use myself. As long as I kept my driver's license, I had a perfect job. Took my driver's license away from me, took everything away from me. Locked me away for a very long time. When I come home, I don't have a family like I used to. It's gone. Everything's gone. Everything that you know is gone. Think about it. You wake up one day and everything gone. From compared to what you remember. This is the kind of life I have to live every day. I know everybody sitting behind me in front, standing in front of me right now. Y'all lives are different. Everybody's lives in here different. But one thing you gotta remember, you gotta help somebody. When people call for help, ain't no help. What I found out, everybody's selfish. But right now I'm in so much pain right now. I'm here to find out what can I have done. Because my mother wasn't treated right. She was treated like an animal. She was left out there like she didn't belong to anyone. Everybody belonged to somebody out here. That's all I need to say to you for right now. Hey, y'all have a blessed day.
Yvonne Bennett, followed by Jim Casey.
Good evening, Council. Before I start, Mr. Mayor, I heard you got a new book out. Congratulations. I might be writing a book soon. You gonna help me out or not?
Certainly.
All right, cool. I would like to talk about the eviction prevention program you guys have. I went to the website the other day and it says it's been down since August. It's kind of alarming. I don't know if it's funding or it's just a bug on the website, but if I can get more information on that. Long story short, though, I provided services for eviction prevention for about 2.5 years. Myself and a couple of friends, we got together and we just started doing it. We had no money, we just had each other. We was going from Norfolk to Newport News, Hampton, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, all over the 757 with little to no money. We're just using our resources, helping people. Now, eventually, we wound up getting some funding because we were mutual aid, and we got some donations, et cetera, which helped a lot of families. Me personally, I helped hundreds of families. Delaney, Anisha, they helped thousands of people. Some of them went to legal aid to work the eviction prevention program. Others went elsewhere. I just want to say that if we can do, in effect, the whole 757 with just 3, 4, or 5 of us, imagine what we can do as a city, and if we had the money and resources behind it. Not everybody is poor. Some people just fall on bad terms. We all work, then something comes out the blue. I got into a couple accidents, I got behind, there's plenty of people who work and then something bad just happens and they just fall on hard times and just need a little assistance. There's plenty of people that looked at me like, thank you so much. You don't understand, I didn't know what I was going through. And like I said, we did that with little to no money. So for me to see that the eviction prevention program that the guys in the city hasn't been active since August of last year is alarming. I think we as a city has a responsibility that just because federal money is not coming in doesn't mean the city doesn't have money that it can allocate towards this program. Not saying giving 10 million, 20 mil, whatever. A mil will do, shoot, 500,000 could do, anything can do. I'm just saying that we need to take a serious look and get this program up and running because it can affect and change everybody's lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Casey.
Hard to follow some of those. Jim Casey, 9649 Dolphin Run. Well, I'm here with a little different scenario. Earlier about a month or so ago, I went to renew my business license for one of my companies, and you wouldn't believe the response I got. I'm going to give you a copy of that later after I finish this. But basically, the Commissioner of Revenue decided to alter the official gross receipts that I put on my form without my knowledge. Then they proceeded to bill me. And when they billed me for my license, they had not only used an altered amount, but they upped it 20% more. And you'll see that in the letter that I got from the office I'm going to provide to you. But the fact is, they didn't even bother to talk to me about any altering of my application, which would be the way to do things. If they said, I have a problem with your consistency, I'd appreciate that, because this company's been registered in Norfolk now for about 20 years. It was a company solely initially to support a company or a major city in Texas for providing professional expertise to them. But later, about 8 or 9 years ago, I finally talked that city out of dropping me because they didn't need me. And I used it to basically to be able to respond to a long-term contract I have worldwide with a major restaurant chain. And basically, I don't get any revenue from that unless we build a new restaurant somewhere. So basically, I report 0 revenues, but I still pay the money. But the fact is that the Commissioner of Revenue altered the application without knowledge. And they've been doing that for, I guess, for a couple of years, because once you see the letters that came from that office, you'll see what I'm talking about. And it really bothers me that they do that. And if they do it for me, I hope I'm just a one-off and there's nobody else that they're doing this to. But if it's the tip of the iceberg, then somebody needs to go in and look at their policies and practices, because one of the letters from the commissioner says she's following Commonwealth of Virginia codes and the city of Norfolk codes when they do what they did. So I'm really amazed at that response. I've got a copy of that. So in this package I'm going to give you will be my response to that billing they sent me, the initial response from their city or their business license manager, and then a copy of a letter from the commissioner herself. And then I also attached, because they say I'm not consistent, I put down there the amount of money that I've put in or reported over the last 12, 13 years, just to show it has been consistent. So this copy will go to you, okay?
Thank you.
And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and I'll be happy to talk to you.
Okay, thank you. Elise Peterson McMath.
Good evening, members of the City Council, Mayor Alexander. My name's Elise McMath, and I'm here tonight to strongly support the community's ask for $3 million to be allocated to the Housing Trust Fund and $1 million to be allocated to the Eviction Prevention Fund in your upcoming budget. Norfolk, like many places in our country right now, is facing an ongoing housing crisis with a severe shortage of affordable housing. As supply dwindles and demand increases, rent continues to skyrocket, pushing working families like mine further into financial distress. The consequences of this housing crisis extend far beyond just affordability. They impact the safety of our neighborhoods, the quality of our schools, and ultimately they're contributing to a steady population decline here in the city. Every day, more of our neighbors are forced to live on the streets and denied even the basic human need for shelter. The creation of the Norfolk Housing Trust Fund was a critical step, but it's just the beginning. The fund has the potential to bring new affordable housing units, but we must ensure that it's properly funded. With the voucher system overwhelmed and our public housing neighborhoods under threat of demolition, now is the time to invest in rebuilding our housing supply and offering affordable options for low-income families who have nowhere else to turn. In an era of cuts to federal programs and growing distrust in national bureaucracy, local governments like the City of Norfolk are in the best position to address our unique needs. National problems require local solutions, and as a community, this crisis is ours to solve, but we must act swiftly. Norfolk also ranks among the top eviction cities in the United States, leaving many vulnerable residents at risk of homelessness. The Eviction Prevention Fund is an essential lifeline, but since the portal closed in August, countless families have been left without support. As rent prices continue to climb, we must increase the maximum assistance is currently capped at $5,000 per year to help families avoid eviction and stay in their homes. Investing in housing stability is not just an act of compassion, it benefits us all. Preventing homelessness and poverty leads to stronger neighborhoods, safer streets, and a more vibrant city for everyone. This is an opportunity to make a real difference in the lives of Norfolk residents, and I ask you as our leaders to please commit to these vital resources. Thank you. Have a good night.
Lucy Hall.
Hi there. Good evening. My name is Lucy Hall. I live in Colonial Place, 714 Rhode Island Avenue. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. I live in Ghent in Colonial Place with my husband. We have two sons who are both at Ghent Elementary. One's in kindergarten, one's in third grade. But I wanted to talk about the Maury High School project. While the planning is in the latter stages of design, and it's being discussed with the Norfolk School Board tomorrow, I wanted to just bring it up here because you, dear council, hold the purse strings, and I just want to make sure that there's transparency in things. I'm not here to oppose the high school renovations or anything like that. A lot of time and effort, energy has gone into that, and it's necessary. So that's not what this is about. I agree that our students deserve better learning conditions. And admittedly, I'm a little bit late to the game in this project. I know it's been going on for a couple of years now, but I just want to make sure that some of the impacts of the construction are being fully considered. And I don't mean impacts from nuisance or traffic or construction, because that's to be expected, right? I am specifically concerned about impact on Ghent School and what is it potentially at stake if the current plans are not revisited. Safety risks created by project boundary not being placed less than 12 feet from the school building, loss of classroom space that can't easily be forced back into the existing building, removal of recreation facilities without an acceptable plan for replacement, immediate elimination of access to open spaces for over 500 K-8 kids, followed by permanent loss of access to this open space as fields will be fenced off for high school athletic use. Some of this stuff also just needs to be clarified. So again, I know that you're not the final recipient of this. I just wanted to flag it. But with this open space remaining, the remaining open area will be less than 2 acres and oddly shaped leftover spaces, which does not meet Virginia DOE guidelines. So just asking that Ghent is considered and included in the process so that those students too, and I'm quoting from the financial commitment page of the online report, quote, are educated in buildings that are worthy of them. So asking that the growth and reinvention of Maury in the area is not done at the expense of other Norfolk students. These and similar requests have been communicated to Dr. Birdsong and the school board. Simply, we just want to ensure we find a solution that benefits all Norfolk Public School students. Thank you very much for your time.
Arthur Devine, followed by Tamara Hanger.
Good evening,
Good evening.
City Council members and Mayor. I thank you for allowing me to come back with this old business, but I have a follow-up to my previous request, and I live at 2728 Colchester Crescent. Arthur Devine is my name. And I made that request on the 11th of February, that you recommend the removal of the chairman of the Norfolk Electoral Board, and to assist you in hearing from each poll worker who witnessed the consequences that spread from the chairman's partisan behavior, and also to ask you to influence the registrar to reform the training of the electoral officers, election officers, by including lessons learned. This is something I did in the Navy for many years in my service, and it benefited everyone who was involved in the general election of November 5th. So from that experience, it would take those lessons learned and adopt those in the new training. So my follow-up is this. I am sincerely asking and inviting each one of you to attend a Norfolk Electoral Board meeting to see for yourself and to see for your ward and to see for the city of Norfolk just how the Electoral Board members are functioning. Maybe with your presence there in the next Electoral Board meeting, they may be persuaded to improve before our next primary election that's coming up in June. And this is urgent. I say again, it is very urgent. Our Norfolk Registrar needs to reform the training of our pool of election officers to specifically include emphasis on the partisan behavior that was committed by the current chairperson. It will not be tolerated. And we cannot afford to accept the excuse that we have heard on the 5th of November that they are doing the best they can do. We can do better. See, I have cited, in this list that I've given you, I've cited the Virginia Attorney General's opinion. Please read that one and explore that. So please, City Council and Mayor, for the sake of the citizens of Norfolk, look into this matter and interview all witnesses. And I also have two with me here today that came to support and let you know that they are available for answering any questions as well. And I appreciate what you will do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mara Hanger.
And Tamara Hengel was one of mine, but she couldn't make it
Okay,
today.
thank you. Keenan Baskerville. Keenan will be followed by Terry White.
Good evening. How y'all doing today?
Well,
My name is Keenan Baskerville, and I live in Norfolk, zip code 23518. I'm here tonight to ask for $3 million to be allocated to the Housing Trust Fund and $1 million to be added to the Eviction Prevention Fund. Norfolk has seen a decrease in population over the last 2 years, primarily because housing in Norfolk is unsustainable due to unaffordable housing and redevelopment projects that have led to the displacement of hundreds of Norfolk's residents, leading them to live in other cities in the Hampton Roads or worse. If used properly, a housing trust fund can acquire and rehab older homes in Norfolk or construct newer homes, promoting single-family home ownership and showing a commitment to your word to creating affordable housing in Norfolk and bridging the wealth gap. Additionally, an eviction prevention fund would be beneficial to aid the influx of evictions in Norfolk, not to mention that the current eviction portal only opens up once a year, and we all know that families need eviction aid more than once a year. Norfolk is currently in the top 10 of highest evictors in the entire country. Think about that. Rent is continually increasing. Therefore, the funding for eviction prevention should increase as well. That's logical. It's not unknown that Norfolk's homeless population resources are already highly exhausted and underfunded. The best way to prevent any more strain on those resources is to prevent people from being evicted, minimizing risk for homelessness. Furthermore, the uncertainty of federal funds should underscore the need for city funding for localized eviction prevention efforts. Suppose we don't face these housing issues head on. In that case, Norfolk will continue to lose residents and more families will be displaced, increasing the unhoused community and ultimately robbing Norfolk of more opportunities to make money for the city. Norfolk is in a housing crisis, which has been going on for a while now. It's time we take action to combat this crisis by simply putting money towards the Housing Trust Fund, namely $3 million, and money towards an eviction prevention program, namely $1 million. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Terry White, followed by Carl Poole.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Mayor. Yes, my name is Terry White. I am a member of the Virginia Organizing. And for the past 2 years, we have been working diligently to the City Council to establish a housing trust fund. Last year, the budget for the Housing Trust Fund was created, but there was no money put in it. We don't know what happened, what y'all did with it, but anyway, this is the Department of Housing and Community and Development was to research for the need for it, but there was no research for it. It's like, I don't know, but okay. We have talked to many people who are having trouble paying the rent. Prices are just too high in Norfolk and nationally. It is up to the City Council to help residents establish the Housing Trust Fund. Tonight, we ask that the City Council funding Housing Trust Fund for $3 million. I'm just piggybacking on some of what the other people are saying. We also implore you to create a eviction protection program of $1 million. And I'm gonna give y'all a personal story. I was homeless myself. That is not good. I had to literally sleep on benches anywhere I could. And I pray for people that's still out there like that. We have to do something with this housing stuff, y'all. It's ridiculous. This is supposed to be the richest nation in the world, right? It's sad, though. We shouldn't have people living on benches, dying. Like I relate to the young man about his mother passing away. It's senseless because we have the money in the budget. Instead of taking it and doing it and putting it somewhere else, we need to put it what's going to help the people. Like the young man was saying, when you put the money into the people, the housing and things, it comes back to the economy and makes it strong, you know? And I'm going to be honest with you, it's not fair. I can walk down the street and see people homeless, older people. It's sad. I've been there. I know how it feels. It's real bad, and I pray for everybody that's still out there. And it's hard. Some of us may have not been into that situation, but until you go in there and feel it, it's not good. Being out there in the cold, the heat, any of that stuff, that's not good, man. I'm being honest. I'm bringing this from the heart. I had written down what we were going to say, but I thought about and think of my, situation. And thank y'all.
Thank you.
Have a blessed day, everyone.
Carl Poole.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, city manager. My name is Carl Poole, and I live at 9424 Peachtree Street in Norfolk. And like most folks in Norfolk, I rent where I live. It's not easy to find an apartment that's decent and that's affordable in Norfolk for anybody, but especially if you don't make a lot. In fact, if you make $35,000 or less in Norfolk, you're gonna find that there are more people in households out there looking for an apartment than there are actual apartments to go ahead and rent in Norfolk that you can afford. Now, when you do find an apartment, or if you find an apartment, now you gotta worry about keeping it. Rents aren't going down, they're going up. And most folks who rent in Norfolk are overburdened by rent. That is to say that 30% of their total yearly income is just going towards rent. Some of them, as much as 50% of their yearly total income is going towards rent. So now you got to worry about getting evicted, on top of worrying about if you can keep that lease, on top of if you move, if you can find another place to live, another place to rent in Norfolk. Now, I know there is no magic bullet. There is no one solution to our housing crisis that we have here. But we've got to keep building on the things that we're doing. So I want to make 2 suggestions to you tonight. Number 1, stop talking about what to do with the Housing Trust Fund and put $3 million in it. Start it off. This will bolster efforts for folks who are coming here as developers to build new housing that's affordable to people and, well, rehabilitate our existing housing so that it stays affordable. The next thing, add $1 million to our eviction prevention funds. It is a simpler thing to keep people in the places where they live at right now than it has for those folks to get displaced and have to struggle to get back in someplace else after an eviction. You add money to that fund, you can look at how you give monies out, how often you give monies out, how much you can give monies out. The more you've got to do, the more you got to give. And I get it. Right now, federal funds are uncertain, so more localized funding is what we need to kind of bolster that effort. We can't depend on the federal government. We all know that right now. So we got to depend on us. Look, I want Norfolk to grow. I want Norfolk to thrive. This is where my family has been here since the 1950s. This is where I plan on staying till I'm dead and gone. So if we can all work together to make Norfolk thrive, make Norfolk grow, that means we got to make sure we work together to keep a roof over all of our heads for that to happen. So I'm counting on you to work with me and work with everybody else in the city to make that happen. Thank you for your time.